Oh, okay.
All right, we're live.
We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the transmission. You can hop on Zoom through the link. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. So thank you for everybody for joining today. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Okay, now I'm going to click this Internet Explorer link and hopefully it doesn't drop us off of Zoom. Okay,
Okay. We're at the
I'll start
quarter
my
moon.
video. Okay,
Right.
so welcome everyone. We're here for another wonderful live stream channeling with the Pleiadians through Dante, Shante Singh. So welcome. All right, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good to just dive right in. Hello, and we say good day to you this moment of your time. As the Pleiadian Council, we speak on behalf of the Galactic Alliance and many other beings here to support your planet in this grand ascension process. We thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for as you integrate these energies in your realities and apply these messages, you open that bridge from our reality to yours, and you integrate the blueprints, you could say, of that ascended version of your planet that you seek to create. So we do thank you. And today we will begin with a short message. It is a message again about the shifting nature of your reality, and again affirming to you that there are an infinite amount of parallel versions of your Earth plane, and as such, there are an infinite amount of different timelines that are playing themselves out. From this perspective, you yourselves are shifting your own vibration to align with the reality that you are creating for yourself, your experience, and all of the other timelines that are available exist out there as well. And so this is another culmination point, and you could say that one of the biggest culmination points in the past were in year 2012 and year 2016 of divergences in the different timelines that you are headed towards. And now you can align most with the timeline of your preference by choosing to be an example of the energies, the frequencies, and the actions that you would like to see in the world. You can have many great ideas, but if you do not put them into action, then you do not allow for that potential to become manifest. And again, the vibration of love is the simplest way that you align with this higher frequency version of the planet. When you take actions based in love, then that love ripples out and plants a seed in those around you. When you do actions based in fear, and also when you allow fear to stop you from acting, to stop you from speaking, to stop you from transmitting some frequency that is meant to come through your own channel, you will more align with a version of your planet that is enmeshed in fear. So there are many different versions of your world that are coming, and the highest expressions of your future Earth reality include a complete disclosure of human contact with extraterrestrial life somewhere before your year 2030, and include a unified force within your planet that instills good and begins the process of restoring your planet to a more natural state, ending use of technologies that disrupt the natural flow of energies and your own sense of connection to the earth. And there is also a negative future that does exist. And we are not intending in any way to instill fear, but we are wishing to express that when you vibrate with that energy of fear, you align yourself more with that timeline. And this one does include a stricter control on your planet, what you would consider martial law for most of the planet, and the introduction of artificial intelligence in ways that homogenizes the consciousness in your world even more. And that timeline, of course, does connect with what becomes grays. And you still have that potential to align with that when you submit to fear. And so, as we have said in the last transmission, not everyone is meant to be that whistleblower, though all of you are meant to revoke consent and inform others that some of those actions that are being made in your collective are not in the best interest of all. And the more you consent and agree with the measures that are being enacted and the sort of memes and ideas that are being instilled in your consciousness, the more likely you are to align with that timeline. And so instead, spreading the message of love, encouraging everyone to remember they always have free will, encouraging everyone to remember that the situation of viruses coming into your world cannot end until you end the destruction of nature and until you create a world in which human population is not so concentrated and put under such extreme stress that lowers your immune systems and puts everyone so close together that such things can spread. Every action that you take up until that point of creating a world where such things cannot come into the human populace and spread so easily is just a band-aid and will not actually cure and cover up the deeper wound that is bringing these things to your surface at the time. And so again, what do you do with this information? Well, you connect back with the earth in the ways that you can. You encourage others to do the same. You encourage yourself and others to open up to higher truths of love and connection. And you allow for the energy of passion to move through you in ways that allows that energy to ripple out and instill the vibration of love in all of those around you. And of course, all of the work that you do in visualizing and sending healing energy to your planet in groups and on your own does do some work and supports this process greatly. Though again, you must be anchored in love-based actions as well as working on that meditative or prayerful level, as you would say. So this is our message to begin. And we will now open up to your questions and your dialogues and any reflections and do our best to support you in channeling your own higher understanding today.
Great. Was there someone who would like to begin today with the first question? If not, I'll go ahead and ask a question. Turn on my video here. Okay, good morning, Pleiadian Council. Just listening to that message, it feels kind of sobering. With HR 6666, a measure which is all about tracking people. And it feels kind of ominous. And I know we talked about staying in the love, staying in the light, staying in the joy, staying in our passion. And yet also, there's only a few of us that are really real whistleblowers, right? There's only a few of us that are meant to do that. But yet, I feel compelled to resist that measure. And I'm just wondering, what are the probabilities that that kind of a measure is going to pass? And what is my role in not having that measure pass. Yeah, I'll start there.
Yes. So when we say some of you are meant to be whistleblowers and others are meant to more align with your own passion and flow, we will say that just because some are the bigger forces that light up many others, that energy does ripple out. And so, again, your primary focus is then to align with your passion and joy, but also to pass forward that message from those sources that are able to tap into the bigger picture of what is going on. So just because it is not your primary focus, it does not mean that it is not something that you are meant to relay on to others. And the more that you can use your passion as the baseline to affirm to yourself that regardless of what happens, you are a sovereign being, that you can revoke consent to any of these measures being impacted in your own life, you can then allow that message, allow that initial whistle blow to ripple through you onto others. And remember that the energy with which you do this is of great importance, because if you relay a message with love, you impart a loving frequency that helps other people open up to a higher truth. And if you relay this message with a vibration of fear, you are more likely to cause others to contract, to not be able to hear or see what you are saying, and to go back into what feels most familiar and comfortable to them. So, are you following us?
I am. Could you elaborate a little bit more about what you just said about sharing my passion and also making people aware of the
Yes.
message? Yeah.
Again, it is understanding that your primary purpose is to be in that state of passion, joy, and expansion. And if you do not take actions that instill that vibration in your life and in your reality, when you come to pass on and relay this message to those around you, your vibration, your energy will not be in a high frequency state. And so it is more likely that you may instill fear than instill love. And this is why, again, aligning with your passion is the baseline that allows you to pass on this message. And again, it is in a sense not your primary purpose, because there are others who are really stepping into seeing all of these nuances and putting out a loud message about what is going on. And many people are hearing and then passing on, connecting them back to that primary source of that information. And so there are many more, such as yourself, who are doing this. And we are simply saying to not be so focused upon this goal, to simply allow it to be something that happens through you,
Mm-hmm.
and relay others to those clear sources of this information without insisting that other people are able to hear it or not. Because what is really going to happen for so many people who are hearing this information is
Mm-hmm.
that they will receive a seed that is planted. And then as time passes and they start to see more evidence for the information they initially received, then they will hop on board. But for them at this moment, there still may be too much resistance. There may not be enough evidence for them to believe all of these ideas that may be just dismissed as conspiracy theories.
Right.
Though, again, we want to highlight that the biggest conspiracy of all is fear itself, because fear robs you of your ability to perceive the choices that you have. If, for example, vaccines were made mandatory, don't you suppose there are ways that you can hide from anyone who is coming to impose that upon you? don't you understand that there is an underground in your world, and there always has been? And so even if such things came to pass, you would still have free choice. It just may not be as clear as it is now. So when you see the potential for such infractions upon your justice and your choice, you must remember that choice cannot be taken from you. Choice can never be taken from you. And even somebody who is imprisoned will always have the freedom to choose what they think. And your thoughts create reality, remember. Your thoughts ripple out and affect everything around you. And if you truly understood the power of your beliefs and your thoughts, you could know that even if you were to that extent imprisoned, you could still have power, and you could still find a way with your energy to ensure your own freedom.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. I think Audrey, did you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay, well, thank you. That's been very interesting. I happen to be living in the first county that wants to institute HR 6666. But anyway, tomorrow, or on the 5th of June, I got a message on the internet that the Pleiadians were asking for humans to join in with them to be boots on the ground for the Pleiadians to send energy through all 4G and 5G cell towers to transmute them into Tesla free energy all over the world. So I number one, I want to know, is this correct? Number two, I was going to gather a very small select group to go to an area that has a Pleiadian in the woodland that I was told has Pleiadian, the marks, holes in a rock there that line up with the Pleiades, with the stars in the Pleiades, like it's a vortex. And we were going to do that ceremony there, welcoming those energies to help with that transmutation. Do you have any insight on any of this?
Yes. Well, for one, we are always with you. We are never not with you. Because again, this is a universal law that everything is here and now. And so whenever you come into that higher state of passion, alignment with your higher self, you can receive messages from us individually. And in the sense, every one of you has the potential to channel, whether it manifests through you in vocal channeling in this way, or in simply receiving that telepathic message. We are with each and every one of you. Now, as for transmitting these higher frequency energies through 4 and 5G networks, in a sense, yes, that is possible. In a sense, that is what is happening right now, as the channel is connected through a 4G network to your internet to transmit this very message. So you are all using these technologies, and when you transmit loving frequencies in your messages and in your content, as you call it, in your world, then you are transmitting those frequencies. And of course, when you develop your belief systems to use something like these technologies in a positive way, they cannot have the same negative effect on you. And of course, the idea is that the 5G network is currently tuned to a frequency that is not harmonious to the well-being of your physical body. And this allows you then to choose, if you wish, to enact activities, practices, and states of consciousness that transmute these frequencies. And of course, the primary of these is being in that love-based state, is not holding on to fear-based beliefs that keep you in a state of anxiety, a state of unrest. For when you are in that state, the hormone balance in your body is such that your immune system lowers and you are more susceptible to those states of disease and disharmony. When you are meditating, practicing, connecting in groups, again, your body begins to produce such hormones and chemicals and everything of that nature that strengthens your immune system. And really, the more you are connected with others physically, the stronger your immune system becomes. So this idea of this permission slip is very powerful. And to go to this location, this power spot, it is a place that is very much aligned with our energy. And it is a place where you can all develop that clearer and more powerful connection to us. And of course, the more people believe in themselves, in their own power to hold a high frequency, in their own power to create lives and habits that make their body stronger, then yes, you are transmuting those 4G and 5G energies.
Thank you. So I'm understanding from this that it does not have to be done on that specific day, that it could be done whenever. And we can do it individually, or we can get together in groups for that type of thing. But it's not necessary that this be done on that specific day, June 5th.
Well, that day could be a powerful day if you align with it, if you choose to show up at that time. That is a day, as you know, of the full moon. So there are certain portals that are aligning at that point. Though, do not consider that you may miss out on that opportunity if you don't make it on that day, because again, everything is here and now, and you can connect non-locally to other points in time and space simply through vibration and frequency. So yes, there is significance to that day, but if it is not within your ability, then still follow through with this act.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Oh yes, our great love and thanks to you as well.
Chris, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Sure, yeah. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, yes.
So what's on my mind right now is I've done a lot of work around releasing mental rules and limiting beliefs around food and letting myself eat more intuitively. But sometimes I can still be a little mental, or there can be a little bit of a head game about it all. And like when I was younger, I learned a lot about protein requirements, nutrient requirements, etc. These sort of frameworks for understanding how to be quote unquote healthy. And now, as I'm trying to be more intuitive and guided and open up new experiences of food, some days I have the impulse, like I actually want to be vegetarian today, or I don't feel like having, but I notice sometimes I kind of stuff protein. I'll like add chicken or bacon onto my meal just because I feel like I need the protein, because when I was younger, I learned that you need like 80, 100, whatever grams a day. And I wonder if that is like a limiting belief, or if that's actually a useful metric, or how to think about things like that. And there's vegan protein powder and stuff. Like, I mean, I know protein is an important thing. I just wonder if it's kind of being less helpful than it used to be to think in those terms. If that makes sense.
Yes. All right. So again, generally, as you raise in energy, your body will naturally bring you to require more plant-based foods, foods that come more directly from the source. So whole foods that are fresh have that higher frequency energy within them. And the idea of meat is all right to a point. If you believe that you need certain foods, you must cooperate with those belief systems until you are able to release them. And of course, releasing the beliefs may involve proving that they are not true by seeing how your body responds to being vegan for a certain amount of time, such as a week, seeing how you feel, noticing the different quality of energy. And what you may notice again is that sense of lightness, a sense of openness and spaciousness that you may even interpret as being a bit spacey, ungrounded, or over emotional. And then you can decide from that point, is it okay for me to be in that state of consciousness? Is it okay for me to be this open? And the idea is, of course, often what you are doing with meat and heavier proteins is that the feeling of being grounded and secure comes actually from staying at a lower, more comfortable frequency. It is more comfortable because you have become accustomed to it. When you open up to these higher frequencies, it often does feel as if you are losing your connection to physicality to some degree, but that will pass as you, in a sense, surrender and allow in those higher energies. Now, again, it has very much to do with what you believe to be true. And there are so many different ideas about food that you can subscribe to. And your body is responding to the mental components that are being inserted in it. You are consuming as much information as you are consuming dietary nutrients and so on and so forth. So in a sense, this gives you a choice. If every perspective and every way of relating to your body has a truth to it, then which of those ideas do you consume? And when you consume those ideas, naturally you will start to consume foods that correspond and validate those ideas. The choice is really all yours. And naturally, your body will always have this mechanism of telling you what it needs when it needs it. And the simplest idea is to eat when you are hungry and sleep when you are tired. Understanding how the body responds to beliefs in that process at that time. And again, understanding the different signals your body gives you. A feeling of heaviness does not always indicate a feeling of truth of being nourished. Sometimes a feeling of heaviness actually means you are weighing yourself down. And being able to adjust to that greater sense of openness and spaciousness can actually show you another way of taking in energy. And we always will add on that, of course, it is the energy that is more important. So when you supplement with greater energy through breath and clean water and meditation, you will need less energy from food. And of course, the idea of how much protein you do need, regardless of whether it comes from animal or whether it comes from plant, also does have a lot to do with how much you actually exert yourself, how much exercise you take in and create. Because if you do not move your physical body so much, you do not need as much protein as others. And again, the idea of having that more natural connection to the foods that you are consuming. For example, those in indigenous cultures have a spiritual relationship with the animal, knowing where it comes from, often killing it themselves or being directly related to the person that does kill and prepare the animal, allows you to be closer to the source and allows that flow of energy to come more naturally. And of course, when you connect to the spiritual guide and essence of those animals you are consuming, they will tell you whether or not they consent to your consumption of them. And all of you, of course, as much as you are capable of connecting with spiritual guides like ourselves, are capable of connecting with the spiritual guides of the animal spirits as well. We hope that fully answers your question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like I'm just in this middle zone right now where I'm relaxing the old ideas and feeling into this new relationship and just showing myself through time that I can trust the guidedness without needing those old frameworks of structure to make everything happen for me.
All right.
One last little tiny question, just because I'm curious, is do you have anything to say about what the United States this decade is going to be having its third Uranus return at the same time that we have our Neptune opposition? And what do you see those energies, how those energies are going to come up for our nation?
All right. Well, it is again a grand restructuring of your belief systems and your own identities. Of course, your country is one founded upon a great spiritual principle and concept. So this idea of a Neptune opposition is showing you the flaws in your thinking. And one thing that will become very clear for you is that regardless of what one believes, there is a almost religious aspect to how fervently they believe it in this nation. Even somebody who is apolitical or something of that nature will often act in that almost dogmatic or fervent way in your country, because that impulse was part of how all of you got to be there in the first place, for the most part. And it is part of the cultural conditioning. So this is really an invitation to allow your beliefs to be more malleable and flexible. Much like we said, your body is going to respond to the ideas that you consume about what it needs. So does everything else in your life. In your political systems, in your social systems, in your relationships, the ideas that you hold to be true will become self-fulfilling. And as this becomes the new understanding in these times, you will all be invited to have less of a firm grip to your beliefs, regardless of what those beliefs are about, and come more to a baseline belief in love and the unity of all. And in changing the very structure of the way that you live, so that again you can be more in harmony and in unity with the planet itself. And many of the financial structures and socioeconomic structures in that sense will undergo a great makeup when you align with the higher timelines and that frequency of love that allows you to access them.
Cool. Thank you for your time.
Oh, our great thanks and love to you. It was no time. It was only the channels and your time.
Cool.
Pamela, would you like to ask your question now?
Yes. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you to the council and Dante. Your message at the beginning speak so deeply to my heart. Being in alignment and embodying and expressing our passion, the light, what we're here to deliver. And where I sit, what is sitting on my heart right now is the extreme polarity that we are experiencing in the world. I'm really feeling on my own heart in that at the beginning of the quarantine time, I felt a huge call to be in service and to shine my light and to deliver messaging and content and to do as you say, to let that be free. And there was in that a great expansion. I received pushback from family members, close family members. I've had this my whole life. And in this particular moment, it has gotten so extreme that feeling as free and as full of the light and as full of love as I was in this embodiment, it was beyond conceptual. It was an embodiment of this universal love in loving and bringing service to the planet. These family members that are very close to me, blood relatives, including one that I mother, I'm careful about the language that I use because I know that a bond cannot be ruptured, but there has been pushback to who I am. And in conversation, in endeavoring to be loving and kind and not convincing anyone of these truths, but holding firm in who I am, they have called me names and stopped speaking to me for weeks. And I find myself in this divide where all of a sudden in the past few weeks, I've gone into grief because I've muted my passion. I've muted delivering my message because there has been a grief sitting upon my heart. I don't even know how to phrase it in a question other than day to day, I feel like I am walking this razor's edge, choosing between my soul's purpose and this allegiance to these family members, two of which who are my children, that I want to love them and give them space, but I am feeling beyond conceptual and agony in me that it's almost impossible for me to be who I am right now. And I want to know how to love them and give them space while holding my mother's heart that is grieving from moment to moment.
Yes. So you can move through this final cycle of grief in coming to accept this idea of rejection. For one, understanding that, first of all, when somebody is rejecting another, they are first of all rejecting themselves. For all is truly one, and what they reject in another person is something within themselves, because again, every quality, every attribute, everyone possesses to some degree, whether it is forced to lay dormant or not, is another expression. And they are not accepting themselves, they are cutting themselves off through rejecting you. And again, they are not rejecting you as a person, but they are rejecting this expression, this idea that is manifesting through you. And so when you can, as challenging as it may be, depersonalize that experience itself and understand that it is not about you and it is not that they lack love for you. It is actually the opposite. They have great and tremendous love for you, but they fear so powerfully within their own belief systems and their construct of their reality that you are going outside of the lines of what is safe, that they believe that this rejection is the only thing they can do to protect you. And so in that sense, in your acceptance of this whole experience, when you come to interpret their actions as a sort of great distortion of love, as everything is merely a distortion of love, then you can take the steps forward. For again, holding back your truth is the greatest tragedy of all. Holding back your expression is the greatest tragedy of all. There are people out there who need what you have to say and share. And it may not be those that you most want to share it with. And this is something that is very key in what we and all of those other extraterrestrial channels say. And having no insistence on a particular outcome is what allows the energy to go where it really needs to go. When you have an expression and you attempt to force it to go down a circuit that it is not designed to go down, you will lose energy. But when you freely express this energy and allow it to be available to all potential circuits that may continue the spread and the cycling of that energy, the energy will naturally follow the path of least resistance. It will naturally go to those to whom it is designed to go, those who are actually ready to receive it. So, in a sense, as you can finally accept that those who may be your soul family now may not be your blood family, as you call it in your world, you can truly naturally align with those new people in your life that will enliven your heart, that will fill you with love, and that will allow the message and the energy you are here to bring to truly reach the world around you and anchor you in a positive new earth.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That I was going to say makes so much sense. And it's deeper than that. I can feel my heart, the pain that I felt in my heart started to melt as you were transmitting that message. And I can feel a loosening of the scar tissue and an opening of allowing and accepting. Thank you.
Oh, our great thanks and love to you as well. Is there any last clarifying bit that you desire at this moment?
No, I feel complete. That felt just absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
All right, we thank you very much. And our great unconditional love is with you.
Do I have permission to ask a question?
Actually, Josh is next, but you can be right after Josh.
Perfect.
Okay.
Hi, thank you, Council. Thank you, Chandler. Thank you, everyone, for the amazing questions.
Great thanks to you as well.
Oh, thank you. Within the last few days and weeks, I've been torn apart between something that brings me this goosebumps, this aspect of passion, and I still need to rebalance my focus towards it. Yet at the same time, I've been receiving and downloading information as if I was channeling, but a lot of it having to do with human consciousness and how the brain works. And it's being a bit trapped between the two, because definitely sharing this knowledge would be amazing, yet it's not what brings me that thrill, that passion.
So then what does bring you that thrill, that passion?
It is a different kind of goosebumps type energy when I work on animation or I plan certain scenes. And I know the knowledge could sort of be integrated into that, yet it feels like there's a pull towards maybe doing it on the side or launching this knowledge as base as it is first. And it's being caught between the two. That's a bit difficult.
So why does it need to be caught between the two? Why can it not be both of these expressions? for you?
That's a terrific question. I know I can do the other one on the side. I was kind of wondering, maybe one takes a bit more time and juice and knowledge, and then when it comes to giving out this knowledge, because the channeling just seems to come in naturally, it's something I can simply do in a podcast, yet I'm not entirely sure if it's going to reach enough people, or maybe I'm stuck in expectation.
Well, exactly, because regardless of how many people it reaches, it will always reach the people it needs to reach in that moment. And of course, most things begin quite small. And through the natural process of bringing necessary and important information to others, they will allow you to naturally reach more and more people. So you must trust in that process and let it organically build, and not allow your decisions to be based upon the outcome or what you project the outcome to be, but be more based upon that feeling of passion in the moment that you will distort the more you bring yourself out of the moment into expecting it to turn out this way, expecting this many people to receive it or that many people to receive it. And we would go even further to say that you don't even need to time and plan out when you do this thing or when you do the other thing. Trust that when you do what you are passionate about in one moment, everything will organize itself so that you can fit everything in naturally. But the more that you operate from this idea of a lack of enough time to fit it all in, the more, again, that belief system will prove itself to be true.
Wow, this was spot on. Thank you. It's this subtle idea I've never necessarily paid upon or paid attention to, and you guys just brought it. I may have a second part to that question if you don't mind.
We don't mind.
At the same time as the channeling process that I've spoken about has happened, I've noticed within my person or maybe a channel from soul, a habit to continuously balance internally a quote that I hear or has been said. Oftentimes when I'm listening to a conversation in a video or a conference, just to pause and balance what was said in an aspect of compassion and knowledge. This has been happening over and over again, and I was wondering if you had any idea what's going on. It's fun, but not annoying, but odd.
You find yourself vacillating, you say?
In a way, I would basically pause certain conversation and often attempt to balance what was said internally, mostly because I know it's the projector, my mind, but balancing it in an aspect of understanding both the wisdom and the compassion in a quote that may or may not have it. It's a tad bit odd.
All right. Well, we would say that you can find compassion for anything, anyone, when you come to see from this higher perspective that everything is one. When you imagine that things are not so solid and fixed as they seem, yet all is just vibratory energy patterns interchanging. You can even shift your focus from this physical dimension up to these higher dimensions and simply tune into whatever you perceive and experience. Perhaps it is sensation or perhaps it is imagery, but see at that level at which everything is one. And you can, from that point, understand how all of the different energies that exist outside of you are, in a way, a take on that same overall theme.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yep. Thank you. It just clicked. Thank you.
Oh, great, love, and thanks to you as well.
Wonderful. There was a woman who just got on and asked to ask a question. Is she here? I'm not sure who that was.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
So I would love to ask this question on my behalf and behalf of a lot of other sisters. So a lot of us that are high sensitive and are healer, like we've been at service for various years. A lot of us is having like really strong cramp and womb problem and parasite. And so I would love to understand what's happening on more than the physical level, and what would be the tool that can help us to change frequency. Because, well, personally, all the medical plants I use haven't worked, and I was speaking with other sisters that were going to the same process, and it's really painful for a lot of us, and we don't know which other tool to use because our personal tools we try hasn't been really working as before, powerful as before. So what's going on regarding the womb of the woman? What are the best tools to...
This is fun. I can go walking. I feel way less imprisoned.
All right. Well, all right. We would first ask, are you in touch with your full creative power? Are you allowing that passion to move through you? Are you truly acting upon all of those things that ignite this passion here in this part of your body, in your womb?
Yes, I am like, I pretty much follow always my creative spark. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you beneath this that fears something taking your power, taking your creative energy away from you?
Well, whatever happened in this 3D realm has been affecting me, has been like blocking me in my flow and in my service. Yeah, it did affect me. So I could see this blocking my creativity.
Yes. So it is this underlying fear that then manifests as the problem in your womb. And this is in general occurring for many who experience this issue, though there are, of course, personal nuances that we cannot go into detail for everyone. Though we can say that there are forces that are seeking to feed off of the fear of humanity, whether it is the fear of a virus or the fear of a loss of freedom. It is the same force that instills both of those different avenues of fear. So this is a very clever, energetic parasite that is attempting to, again, instill its hold on your planet, because it has had a hold on your planet for some time. And now, as there is this powerful split into many timelines, you are breaking through into the timeline where they lose their power. But again, with a parasite or with anything, before it dies off completely, it fights the hardest. So understand that the fear of a virus or the fear of a loss of freedom or the fear of this or the fear of that is all fuel for that parasitic force. And again, you must understand that your unique expression of passion does not depend on who is able to receive it, because there will always be somebody there who is really resonant with it, because again, it will always reach the people it is meant to. It does not depend on the frequency of those around you. It depends on your unique frequency. And even if many others around you are in a state of fear, you cannot change them by matching that frequency. And if you fear their fear, again, you are still feeding the parasitic force. And as well, even if some of these fears came to be true, again, we would say, even in the most locked down you could become, you still have freedom of thought. And this is a very powerful frequency indeed. You still have frequency and freedom of what you believe. And this can take even the most negative experience and create a positive out of it. And again, when you understand that you are an infinite being that does not die, you can understand that many people who have died upholding their freedom and upholding their truth had a positive experience of death and had a positive life as a result. And we take it to these extremes just to entertain these notions so that you can understand that within the situation you are presently at, you are actually doing much better than many other individuals and many other realities, many planets that are in a complete lockdown. Of course, this experience on your planet does have a tremendous karmic bleed through relationship with that of Orion, in which the loss of freedom and the control is certainly 10 times more intense than it is on your planet. And within any experience, you can use it in a positive way. So again, understand that the greatest power is found within you, not outside of you. And nothing anyone can do outside of you can rob you of that freedom, for it is intrinsic.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really
Does that
appreciate
help you?
Okay, let's see. Laurel, why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Okay, here I am. Okay, so I told myself that I was going to drop into my heart and not plan too much. So I'm just going to do that for a moment, and so that I can get in touch with the deepest thing, because certainly I have many, many questions. Okay. Okay. What I'm coming up with is two things. I'm lonely. And the other thing that comes up frequently is a very inner child thing is I want my mommy. I know that I have a lot of, I've got PTSD, some of it, which I haven't fully addressed because I tend to get very frightened about modalities that, say that you're just going to snap out of it. And I don't go that route because there's so much fear that comes up, and often it's very expensive. There's like EMDR, and there's that brain spotting, and but there's still some PTSD that I have not dealt with. As far as the loneliness, I have tended to isolate more than a lot of my people, apparently in my soul group. And also I know that one of my passions would be finding my mate, and there's various resistances to that, feeling that, and it might be legitimate, that I'm really not ready, because how can I be in my greatest confidence and attract somebody? Men seem to like confident women, and there's still a lot of, in me that it does not feel confident. So what would you have to say about these things? Sarah, I can't see Dante. Oh, there he is. I can't see him largely.
All right. So
There, thank you.
yes, with all of these issues, we would invite you to imagine it as simply one, a core resistance to intimacy.
Oh.
Though intimacy here is exactly the same thing you desire. So you peel this back layer by layer as if it is an onion, and understand that, again, this idea of loneliness, of course, the ultimate antidote to loneliness is a deep connection, and the greatest connection you want is that partner. Yet loneliness can be chipped away layer by layer, and confidence can be developed layer by layer. So do you feel confident to go and have tea with friends?
Sometimes.
All right. Do you have confidence to have a phone call with a friend?
Sometimes.
All right. So some of the time when you have that confidence to go into a meeting or meet with somebody or call them even, what are you believing about yourself, and what are you believing about that relationship?
I'm believing that there's connection and that we can support each other.
Yes. And so that key in being able to support, knowing that you are valid, knowing that you are worthy and you are capable, when you can bring that into all of these other layers, the ability to show up for somebody in a deeper way, the ability to hold space for somebody, in realizing that all that holding space really is being able to listen deeply and being able to have compassion. It is not more complex than tapping into that higher level of oneness and holding your heart open. And you do not need to show up for somebody in any way to solve their problems as much as to listen to them. That will, if you have confidence in that, that will lead you to having those deeper and more connected relationships. And of course, in healing this trauma, well, you do that actually through connection. You do that more every time you allow some of this trapped up energy, this what we would call distorted love, because again, everything is love, and if there is pain, it is merely the mental distortion of love into some form of fear. And when you can transparently bring this, the tiniest bit of it up, in connection with another, and allow it to be seen, allow it to be felt, and again, hold the space of love open for yourself, one layer of that falls away. Even in being able to share this with a group of people on the internet, you are allowing one layer of this to fall away. So allowing it to step back layer by layer will gradually bring you to a place where you can truly open all of yourself to another. And again, that natural skepticism towards modalities that say you can cure it all in one go is quite healthy, because again, it is a step-by-step process. And while you may be able to tap into a great sense of liberation and connection in one session with any such modality, you must still go about on that journey. And so in a sense, we would actually encourage you to seek out those modalities that are accessible to you, that are more gradual, that are actually touch-based, as this will, again, create a safer healing container and allow, again, a layer by layer process of these things to be released so that you can emerge into a healthier and more clear connection with everyone.
Yes, thank you. And in the sharing, in conversation with others, and going deeper, what was it that you were encouraging me to share?
Share your true feelings.
Okay.
Share those feelings that perhaps come up throughout your day. Share your love. Share the intensity of that love to as much as you feel it. Because in a way, there is often the greatest resistance to expressing that love, because again, the trauma and the conditioning is such that if you express a great love, that love will not be matched by the other. And again, sometimes it is not about that love being matched, but it is simply about allowing yourself to be safe to express it.
Yes.
So it's as simple as really honoring everything you are feeling in the moment and taking off the masks, taking off the layers, imagining your energy body at least as entirely naked so that everything going on within you can be seen.
Yes, yes. Well, this is kind of a big surprise because I'd actually thought that, and I would say that it's not really happening so much lately, but over recent years anyway, I've sort of felt that I had the ability to be much more intimate and transparent than many people. So could you say something about this perception of myself? And of course, as I say, it's been less lately. And so what might you say?
What has caused it to be less lately?
Well, I guess it might be that very thing that somehow I became less confident about the transparency. And I'd actually had one or two friends say, Laurel, you're too honest. And, and like, you know, feeling like, I guess they were trying to protect me from, like, I really didn't even like to tell a white lie. I guess you might say, quote unquote, I'm getting better at that. And I don't think of that's necessarily a good thing. So maybe that's what happened. It's like, okay, Laurel, you don't have to, be that transparent.
Well, there is such a thing as a self-destructive honesty.
Yeah, I know about that.
and this isn't truly transparent because, again, we believe we've talked about this before. It is an attempt to be humble. Mm-hmm. And an attempt to be humble is arrogant. So what we are more guiding you towards is to be more transparent about your love than anything else.
Oh, I'm glad that came up. Yeah, because here is my I don't know what to call it, samskara or whatever. I have a lot of envy that gets in the way of love, and I feel really badly about that, which doesn't help to feel badly about my envy. But yeah, envy comes up for me a lot, and it gets in the way of my expressions of love and even my feeling of love.
Is that something you are normally willing to be transparent about?
Generally not, at least with the person that I'm feeling envy for. But yeah,
and so you are in that sense not being transparent because you are portraying yourself in this transparent light, but talking around the issue that is the biggest one for you, and that is the one that must be exposed.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
And having this, again, positive definition of envy, because envy is just an outward projection of desire. When you believe that you cannot have something someone else has, this is the natural response. So you must, in a way, reprogram yourself to know that if there is the desire for it, you innately deserve it, and it is truly meant to be yours, as long as it is, of course, something that you genuinely need in this life, in this incarnation. Sometimes the desire is actually a projection of the conditioning that you receive that tells you you need such and such a thing that is not truly necessary for you to thrive and meet your needs. Because again, if you meet all of your needs, you will thrive. So when these desires come up, it is important to question, of course, or rather when this envy comes up, again, realize it is a desire. And then first of all, ask yourself, am I desiring something I truly need? Is this fulfilling me in a deep way, or is this an artificial or superficial construct that I am accepting and believing that I need when I don't need it? And from there, you can ask yourself, if this is a true need, why do I believe I don't deserve what I need?
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, our great love and thanks to you. We hope you can play with that and start to show yourself that you are innately worthy and beautiful being, and all of these envies are really gifts. So share them.
Okay, thank you.
Are we connected? It is quiet.
Okay, so I have some questions that are on the Patreon page, and I'm going to go ahead and ask those now. Gotta turn this off. Okay, so these questions, this first one is kind of complicated, but okay, I am a visual channel and use crystals to visually communicate the presence of my higher fractal consciousness and multidimensional self, opening and transferring the contents of my inner landscape through the meaning of the crystal. Maybe she means through the medium of the crystal, to the world in picture frames. The crystal is also used as a communication device through which I am transmitting to from galactic space. The information embedded in these types of frames, only I and a few others can read. My question: from where is the assistance I am receiving with this principally coming from? Which beings, races, star systems? Anything you would point me toward would be appreciated.
All right. We appreciate the work that you are doing in transmitting these higher frequency energies. And first of all, we would say the energy is coming from the galactic center itself. It pours out to all that is, and then reaches through the many different consciousnesses within this galaxy. And every time that you are using this crystal, you are refracting that great light of source into many different directions. So your higher self is your main guide in doing this. And you actually bring through the energy of many different extraterrestrial consciousnesses every single time. Now, of course, as you strengthen in your own connection with your higher self and allow yourself to hear and refine the messages of these guides more, you may be able to tune in certain images and certain crystals to receive the frequency of certain groups. And as you familiarize yourself with the different group consciousnesses out there, as you understand, you can program crystals to be tuned to a certain vibration. As you focus upon the crystal and focus upon the vibration of the different galactic group, you can again program each crystal to hold the frequency of a different group. A crystal can hold the Syrian frequency, another the Palladian frequency, another the Sasani frequency, another the Yael, the Lyran, the Vegan, and so on and so forth. We do find that you may find a strong resonance with both the Syrian, the Palladian, and the Vegan frequency at this time. And this, of course, may change. But again, understand that this is coming through your higher self and coming through the galactic center. And in general, you are bringing forth a more collective embodiment through these images. But you can bring it to be more specific if you choose as you continue this work.
Great. Okay. And then the next question is gemstones, semi-precious stones, crystals, and precious stones. Why are semi-precious stones used more than precious stones? Do they hold better energies than precious stones? My favorite color is green. I do love emerald. I don't own any. Recently, I have discovered moldavite. It's my birthday soon, and I want to treat myself and buy a pendant. Which should I buy? Do you recommend a different stone that would be better suited for me? How do Pleiadians and other ETs use precious stones? Do precious stones have properties beyond human understanding? Does size matter? That's a nice question. Okay.
All right. We thank you for this question again. And in general, the reason why semi-precious stones are used more than precious stones is the accessibility more than anything else. Understand again that these stones hold a vibration that they impart into your being. And in that sense, size does not matter, only if you make it matter. So one way that size may matter in the sense is if you have a very large crystal in a large space, it gets attention quickly, and therefore more energy is focused towards the crystal than if it were a very small pebble in the corner that no one noticed. And in the sense, the same applies with a pendant. A very large pendant may draw forth more energy, but if you are simply using it to impart a vibration, then it does not matter the size of it at all. Regardless of whether the stones are, again, precious or semi-precious, is not that significant. Though the clearer the stones in general, the clearer and higher the frequency they bring forth. And higher does not always mean better. Again, you work with different frequencies at different bandwidths for different purposes. Now, when you facet the stone and carve it into a certain shape, you allow it to refract light in a clearer way, and you allow the light it brings forth to be more focused. So one of the qualities to look for in these stones is the way that light passes through it. And this is why when there are rainbows or phantoms or other effects, they have a different property and a different meaning in general. So for you with this pendant, it is up to you if you would like a more broad and general focus of the stone. A unpolished moldavite will bring that quality. It will, in a sense, be more natural. If you want to refine your focus more and hone in on something specific and detailed, then we would bring a faceted one into your experience. And of course, your feeling, the feeling it evokes when you look at it will be very clear. And in this sense, it would be wiser to select it in person than to purchase it on the internet. Now, finally, we would say about the ways that we use these stones in our world. Well, again, because we live in this more quasi-physical experience, at least in our Pleiadian reality, we actually create crystals. We form new crystals and we program them with certain intentions. And our ships, again, run upon these crystals. The frequencies and the blueprints that allow for our technology to work is through crystals. And so we are generating new crystals all the time, and we can store very complex information within the crystals to transmit ideas and hold records. And it is quite similar in many different civilizations as well.
Thank you so much. She had also, or the person had also asked about, do precious stones have properties beyond human understanding?
Well, most of the properties they have been interpreted by at least some humans. So the qualities may not be understood by all, though at least somebody possesses that knowledge, we would say.
Okay, cool. All right, and then the last question from Patreon is, I know I should search for that which brings me the greatest joy, but I wonder if there is a teaching or something that can help me move forward, like A Course in Miracles or some other channeler besides the wonderful Pleiadian Council. I love my life with family, kids, and the house and place I live in, but I don't seem to find a way to manifest enough money. Perhaps I have a blockage towards abundance. Could something I haven't done yet, or something I haven't found yet, help me with getting enough money to be able to do what I love instead of having to take a regular job that dampens my bliss? Much love from Jessica.
One thing we first of all begin by suggesting to you and to all is to again realize that money is not the only permission slip that brings about abundance. Money is perhaps one of the greatest ones, yet you will still have the ability to do what you need to do regardless of how much money you do or you do not have. And so, first of all, it is an inherent belief in yourself. You are just as capable as this channel or any channel in connecting to your own guides. The only difference is that the channels believe and know that they are capable of connecting, and you do not at this moment. So if you changed your belief system and you became more receptive to the energies at work, you would be able to find more of your own unique ways of bringing those energies forward into your world. Of course, there are many teachings and teachers out there that may resonate with you. And the only thing to do is to search and to be open and feel with what really resonates in your heart. But again, it is sometimes hard to feel that full passion when your beliefs about yourself and about reality are constructed in such a way that you are incapable or that life is a burden. So when you see your life as a gift and you can appreciate the opportunities and the freedoms that are available to you, and you believe that you are capable and intuitive, and you put those skills to work in a relaxed and comforting way, then much more will open up for you. And again, this is a very general idea, though we hope it helps. And again, money is not the greatest key into abundance. It is passion and joy that expands your abundance more than all. And if there is something you desire, perhaps be open to exchanges in this world. Perhaps exchange your gifts or other services in order to receive those things that you think you need. And again, when you simplify what it is you truly need back to the basics, then you can understand that everything will have its own timing. And beyond those basic survival needs, you need self-expression and relationship. So when you deepen into your self-expression and into your gifts, the openings will occur quite naturally, and you will again attract those things that you need much more easily.
Thank you so much. Okay, so here's a question from our Facebook live stream from Shanti Sounds. Can we change our timelines in a more conscious way? I have a twin flame situation which has been going on for a few years, and I feel that it now hinders me more than serves me by bringing my vibration back to a place of hopelessness rather than joy. Can we release from these archetypes, or will there always be this thread running through from our chosen soul contracts?
Well, again, the idea of a soul contract is something that can be rewritten at any time. So the idea here is, if you again shift from your third dimensional perspective to that of your higher self, you can go into some record hall in your imagination, simply allow it to appear to you, and rewrite that contract. Rewrite it so that you instill your freedom. Now, again, this idea of a twin flame is one that is based on duality, and in general brings about all of the other experiences of duality. So duality means pleasure implies pain, pain implies pleasure, good implies bad, bad implies good, dark implies light, light implies dark. that these two sides of the coin must always keep the other intact. But there is a level beyond duality. When you go into that realm of oneness, all is experienced as an expression of love, and you transmute the negative qualities and return them to a sense of oneness. And of course, another aspect of duality is incompletion, that the other side needs another side in order to be whole. So when you feel that you are not whole within yourself, you generate this sort of relationship that is a twin flame, that you are two complementary parts of a whole, but that will always bring about pain. You can take a twin flame relationship into a soulmate relationship sometimes if you affirm your own wholeness, when you affirm that every one part of Source is completely at one with Source already. And again, affirming to you yourself, your own capability, your own wholeness, your own complete intactness, that you do not need a specific other to fulfill yourself. You simply need the reflections of the other that is constantly being provided to you in the other selves in human and spirit form that you are always interacting with. So we hope that clarifies that. And again, you have choice. You can change this or any soul agreement that occurs within this lifetime. There is no soul agreement coming forth to you in this life that cannot be changed, for change is the only constant within this universe.
Great, thank you so much. And Natalia has a question. My highest excitement is vocal channeling, but I can't tune, what does she say? I can't tune in the channeling state. Nothing happening. I'm wondering why. What is blocking the connection? Or,
Something is happening.
yeah.
That is a misperception that nothing is happening. If you are at least coming to be more quiet and still, something is happening. If you are feeling some sensation, something is happening. If you are seeing an image, something is happening. And if you are getting frustrated that nothing is happening, something is still happening. So in the case of experiencing frustration or confusion, again, you must clear out your own belief systems about how the channeling must manifest. Because again, for many vocal channels, it is a long process of simply experiencing channeling as sensation, as color, as light, as emotion, before that translates into words. So if it is not immediately manifesting into words, you must demonstrate and develop your connection with your guides in more subtle ways first. Pay attention to the sensations, pay attention to the images, and allow yourself to focus more deeply on whatever psychic sense is tuned in for you the most at that time. Do not push yourself. If nothing happens after 10 or 15 minutes, then take a break and do something else. And as you go about that, invite yourself to question what beliefs are in place here that is blocking me from experiencing this full connection. And again, clear away your expectations that it must occur a certain way. Because again, connections with your guides and with your higher self will appear very differently for every person. You are all uniquely mapped and designed beings that will open to channel in your own unique ways. So don't expect it to look like the way another person opens to channel. It is unique and perfectly your own way for you.
Wonderful, thank you. And Natalia also wants to know what extraterrestrials and star systems that she's connected to the most.
You, at this point, are demonstrating the most clear connection to Andromeda and to those beings you may know as the Yagyel.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, Chen Wang, would you like to ask your question?
Sure, yeah, that'd be great. So I think my question is more on the nature of relationships. I know there's So in my own personal experience, right, I'm one of the more spiritually oriented people around me. And so if I choose to hold relationships with people who are not on the spiritual path, can that actually limit me in my own growth? Because I feel like I have to deal with a lot of things that just seem of the old paradigm, and that's what I'm trying to get away from. So if I choose to remain in relationships with people who are spiritually unaware, can that um, be harmful? Like suppose they might be of low vibration, or um, something along those lines.
Yes, that can slow you down. And it also doesn't have to slow you down if you are simply passionate to connect with these people. If you are motivated by love to connect with these people, you can still accelerate yourself within that process, allowing it to be a meditative journey of noticing when triggers arise. Because again, you can be in a state of unconditional love for those around you and not allow that to dampen and lower your core vibration. But again, in your momentary vibration, again, you're shifting up in your vibratory frequency all the time in order to even have an interaction with someone of a lower frequency. Your frequency itself must lower for that moment. So you must understand that the ways that you feel in those moments of interaction are a sort of interchange between two frequencies, that their frequency is rising to meet yours and yours is lowering to meet theirs. When you go back into your own space, your frequency can raise again and start to ascend in your own way. But if you are finding that it is simply not exciting for you, that there's no passion, that there's no love that is motivating you to connect with these people, and you are doing it more so out of a belief or an obligation you have accepted, then that is, yes, in general, slowing you down on your progression.
Okay. I think that's about all I had. Thank you.
Great.
Oh, thank you as well.
Thank you, Chen. Terry, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question? Do you have yourself unmuted, Terry? It looks like I'm going to unmute you. Oh, it's not letting me unmute you. Do you want to just type your question into the Facebook where you messaged me? Because you're muted right now. Just type your question into the Facebook and I'll give it to him. Okay, she's going to type her question. While she's doing that, there's a question about a person who's wondering, do the Pleiadians have their own zodiac system?
Yes.
Is there anything more to say about that? Well, of course you do, because you're a different orientation in the sky, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the only thing we will say is that your Earth plane is represented in our system as a turtle. So from where we perceive you, we see a tortoise in our night sky. That is all.
Oh, very cool. We're like Turtle Island. Did the original people who called the Earth Turtle Island tune into that Pleiadian placement?
Yes.
Oh, very
It is
cool.
a universal system, though, a universal understanding through many cultures.
Okay, so Terry still wants to ask her question. Terry, if you can hear me, you don't have a microphone right now, so I don't know what's going on, and I don't see you as an attendee. So why don't you go out and come back in, and I'll try and unmute you, but I can't do anything right now because there's no microphone. Okay, so yeah, there's no microphone on your screen. And it says you're unmuted, so there's nothing I can do. Laurel, you want to ask your question, sweetie?
Unmute, start video. Yeah. Well, I'm grateful for this opportunity to ask another thing that's very up for me. Still can't see, or yet again, I can't see Dante largely. I don't know how to do that. It's not essential, but as long as you can hear me, that's good. So
You can put it on speaker view, Laurel. Do you know how to put it on speaker view?
No.
Go up to those, see where you have those, we'll take a second here, those 9 squares in the far right corner
Yeah.
of the Zoom. Click
Yeah.
on that, and then click on speaker view.
Okay.
See speaker view, come right up, click on speaker view, and you'll see Dante.
Okay.
You got it?
It's not large, but that's good enough.
Okay, no problem. I've got him pinned on Facebook.
I don't
So
want to
all
take
right.
any more of your time, but okay. So anyhow, I have a roommate that is here some of the time these days. I'm somewhat gone because he's somewhat house sitting. Has a very different belief about COVID-19 and different beliefs about a lot of things. I was already probably over concerned about germs and that kind of thing before COVID-19. And now I've gone a little berserk at times. Berserk meaning when I clean, it's not like, you know, I'm thinking about everything I touch, what my elbow touches. It's gotten over the top. This roommate really strongly dislikes communication, except of the most brief type. And I feel like, you know, I've challenged my throat chakra many times to speak to him because I've, of course, you know, for how I am at the moment, I like positive outcomes and positive, you know, feelings that are happening between us. Anyway, I don't see this as living with this roommate for forever. I don't see that I can really legally give him notice, but you know, if COVID-19 returns in November, it's just an uncomfortable situation. He may not be house sitting then, and maybe he'll be home full time. I don't know. So can you say anything about this being? I mean, I really feel for him. I mean, I feel like we reflect each other's throat chakra stuff, but it's like he doesn't even want to have a sit down conversation, which I'd really love to have so that I can really understand this being who's been living with me for more than 3 years. Is there anything you can say about this relationship and how I can relax with disinfecting in a time that, you know, I can't even get, it's hard to get natural disinfectants and they're stinky, the kind that aren't natural. So what might you say about this?
First, we would say that by disinfecting the world around you, you aren't doing that much. But by disinfecting your hands too often, you are actually damaging your immune system. Your hands and the bacteria upon them is directly related to the bacteria within your gut and within the rest of your body. And this is why it is noted that when people dig their hands into the soil, they receive antidepressants and things that are generally good for their health and their body and biology. Now, your immune system strengthens itself the more it can familiarize itself with many different germs and bacteria. And so by cutting yourself off from all of this external influence, you are in a way causing more damage to your immune system and making yourself more susceptible to viruses.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything you can say about how
we
I
have
can
a list,
to him
Laurel.
Sorry.
Well, to speak to more of what you were initially saying, that in relating to this person, simply have compassion and perhaps express more of your feelings through messages and open that invitation to have that conversation with no insistence on an outcome. Understand that fear is the motivation factor behind why they do not want to connect, as much as it is the motivation factor behind why you may want to connect. But if you, again, come from a more loving and open place, the connection may flow more easily. That is all we would say.
Okay, thank you.
Our thanks to you as well.
Great. Okay, I think Terry is still typing her question to me, but let's have Christina go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, I just have a very difficult thing from my past to clear. If Dante can help, I would be very thankful.
Christina, it's very hard to understand you. Can
Okay.
you, I don't know if
Okay.
you're too close to the mic or.
Is better so? Is better so can understand right now?
It's a little bit, but you might want to type your question in the chat for me.
I'll type that on my phone. I'll type that on my phone back to the Zoom. Is that okay? I'll type that on my phone.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah, can you type the question in the chat? Okay, let's see now. Let's see, I'm still trying to look for Terry's question. Okay. Okay. So Terry, there's nothing I can do right now unless you type the question. I have no way of giving you a microphone. I would suggest you go out and come back in. Are you on the computer? Give me a thumbs up if you're on the computer. Okay. If you're on the computer, you should be able to go out, come back in, and I will make you a panelist. Do you have a working microphone that's connected on your computer? You do. Okay, so go out and come back in. Okay? Go out and come back in. All right. Oh my goodness. So in the meantime, Chen Wang, would you like to ask your question again? The one you have?
Sure. So I do have this other question. Regarding more about my personal life, but in general, I guess it could be anyone. If someone hates their job a lot and every day they go to work and it drags on them, it's definitely unhealthy. But I'm asking, if you're on the spiritual path and you're able to tune into a certain type of trust that you'll be provided for, is it advisable or is it doable to just quit that job and then try to trust that the right job will come along and you'll be monetarily supported and provided for?
Yes, if you have that genuine level of trust and you are, at least for the majority, feeling secure enough that you will be able to meet your needs through that transition, then that would be the wisest decision. But if there arises too much fear in making that transition, then you must, in a way, make it step by step, perhaps by finding ways to spend less money so that you can make it through the transition until the new job arises, perhaps by reaching out to people that may be able to help you along that journey, perhaps by seeking other ways of making income that can support you through the transition. So it really depends mostly on your core vibration, because if you do relax and surrender into love, then something will come along and you will be provided for. But if you pretend that you are relaxing and surrendering into love, covering up a core fear, then it may be a more challenging journey.
Got it. Can I ask another question?
Yes.
Okay. So throughout my journey, I've met some people who claim they're on this earth and they could live without food, and they seem to exist with very high vibration. So I just want kind of reaffirmation that that sort of lifestyle is possible, and that it is. I mean, if you have any other thoughts on life without food, I would love to hear about it.
Well, again, we as beings and many other extraterrestrial groups do not have food or water or even sleep. But it is a long process of evolution. So generally, the people that are making this transition to being what is considered a breatharian in your world are great and vast forerunners, and in a sense anomalies that are breaking that circuit ahead of time. And we would say that this is not necessary for your spiritual evolution at this time. For what it requires you to do is to really break so vastly from the collective vibration that you are living, in a sense, in your own plane, protected by so many lower frequency energies that your vibration stays high enough that you do not engage as much in some of those same experiences. Now, what must be understood as well is that when you make this transition, you also do not allow yourself some of the same experiences in the physical reality, such as the same extent of exercising, such as the same sexual exploration and energy as others have. And we would say that there are definitely some people who are living without food, though they are in a way living in a much different reality, and their consciousness is present within a much higher dimension. And there are perks to that, as well as there are disadvantages to that in the present circumstances of your life on this planet as it is today. And there are actually more people who are not authentic in their expression and claiming to do such feats when they are actually cheating, we would say. And there are many people who are perhaps experimenting with raw foods before their belief system is fully on board with the program, and are actually damaging their body by pushing too far too quickly. So it is something to have much caution and consideration in.
So if someone was able to like temporarily try out that lifestyle and switch back to, well, I guess never mind. You've answered my question.
Oh, all right. We thank you then.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're still trying to get Terry's question. I have a question. I am just wondering, you know, I see a lot of my friends now going into each other's houses, not wearing masks, going back to their jobs, not wearing masks at work. And I just wonder, like, how important is it really to wear a mask right now? I mean, I feel like to protect the people that are sensitive and vulnerable, since we can be carriers, it's really good to limit, I mean, to follow these rules of wearing masks. And the other people say, oh, it's just a total farce and all the false positives, and you don't need to wear a mask, and people are angry about violating their free will and blah, blah, blah. So could you comment a bit on whether we really need to be wearing masks right now and not going into each other's houses right now?
It depends, again, on how much contact one has. For if one is in many busy environments where they could contract it and then going all about, they are more likely to spread it. But if you are simply having a casual experience and going into each other's houses, there is no problem. And in general, again, we would say that this disease isn't necessarily going to go away in a forced way. So again, by exposing yourself and developing the antibodies, you will naturally develop, again, that idea of a herd immunity. So again, the emphasis should be just as much on people who are at risk making healthy choices and strengthening their immune systems, as well as anyone else who may have a challenging time with the disease doing the very same thing. And again, understand that the mask does not prevent you from contracting the disease, and it doesn't even as much prevent, to a large extent, the spread of the disease. It does to some extent, but it is not a complete prevention method.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, let me just see if there's any more questions on our Facebook. And yes, hold on one moment. Find the channeling on Facebook. doesn't look okay. I'm trying to find your Facebook page here. I've got two phones. One of them's on your page, one of them's on my page. Okay, here we go. All right, I think we're complete. If you have any closing remarks, we would love to hear them. Let me just check and make sure. Well, okay.
I would love to ask because I'm on my phone right now.
Okay.
If I could ask Dante, I would love to. I'm on my phone right now. I just have to clear something with my past because it's truly hard to. If I could ask Dante what the Pleiadians say about raping. If I was truly raped at the sweet age of 21, if I could ask Dante what the Pleiadians say about raping, because I was not too brave to report it. I was truly not. I don't know if I could ask him what the Pleiadians say, but I was truly. I'm not by myself. If anyone would tell me that it's true,
yes,
I truly not believe it that it happened to me. I truly not believe that it had truly happened to me. I was in an institute where I truly was under caretaking. I'm under caretaking right now, but if truly anyone would tell me that it's true, I can't get rid of this situation right now. I can't let it go. Can you understand it? I can't let it go.
Yes.
It is 10 years ago. I can't let it go because I don't know.
So what makes you suppose that it did happen?
I don't know, because this guy was truly, I don't know. This feeling of being, I don't know what to say about it more. It is 10 years ago, Dante, it is 10 years ago.
Well, we would say, again, the idea here would be that whether it happened or not, there were traumatic experiences that evoked a great violation of your free will and caused a great degree of pain. So, again, it is important to release the emotional charge and in a way let go of the idea of whether it happened or not. And you may, at appropriate times, do hypnotherapy work in a grounded and relaxed space to regress back to those moments and heal the trauma from them and connect with the timelines of your past that are most relevant for you to see. So this is the path that we would suggest most to you, is to follow through with hypnotherapy and reinvestigate these experiences for yourself in altered states of consciousness.
What I did was trauma therapy. I spoke to someone else who did trauma therapy here in my hometown, Vienna, but I don't know it would work. I truly don't suggest that it would work to me. I spoke to that person, he did energy work with me, but it didn't work truly. It didn't work truly. It didn't work truly to me. Can you understand it? Can you understand my feeling, how much it's a shame that your family didn't speak to you when you got raped? Can you understand it?
Again, you may find somebody else who is a more clear channel. So you must, again, find somebody who is trustworthy.
I have a very, very, very trustful friend. I have a very, very trustful friend in the Facebook. He can channel also the divine. I just have a little bit, maybe I can share it with all of you. Maybe it's the right time for me to share as I'm following you in Facebook. As I'm following you in Facebook, I will share it here. He can channel the good old Greek goddess Artemis. And I said, while he was channeling, I mentioned that I was raped while he was channeling. Okay, I will try to send my donation to you. How much do you want from me? How much you want from me, Dante? How much you want from me? Because I truly will.
It is an optional choice. You do not need to give anything if you do not wish to.
I will depend on that. I will. But truly, it was my own feeling. It was an institute. Like here, I'm living here also in an institute. But I don't know if I could escape from that situation. Can you understand it? If I could escape from that situation right now, we have someone there who's psychotic. You know what this means to be psychotic? It's like, oh, how to call that ailment? It's schizophrenia. Schizophrenia. Those person have, and he always tell me, "Yo, I got raped. I say to him, "Go away from me." I say to those person, "I don't want to hear it." If he wants to go, he should go to a therapist, but not to me, to want it to happen.
Christina, honey, I don't know if this is the best container.
No, but I won't tell to my past.
Just about finished. I know we're just about finished at the 2-hour mark. So if there's one more question, you can do that.
I would love to ask about my spiritual path. If it is the right time to do some spiritual routine or something like that, to forget it, what has happened. If it is something like putting cards on someone, is it the right time to do it right now if I'm so in this mood? Because I put it, sometimes the cards out of a hobby, I put the cards on my people around me. Is it now the right time to do what the Pleiadians say about putting cards on someone in this mood?
Yes. Again, we would suggest following those paths that seem truly the most exciting for you and opening to your heart. And again, releasing this idea of what may or may not have happened in your past and accepting yourself regardless and seeking help, seeking support professionally from those who can truly balance and ground you. And also exposing yourself to therapy in nature, grounding yourself in nature, and perhaps eating your supplements with those things that work to lower natural levels of anxiety and bring you to rest more. You will find healing, you will find light. And yes, our unconditional love is with you.
Thanks. I follow you on Facebook, Just check your Facebook. I follow you there. Truly, I will write to you on Facebook, Dante. I will follow you on Facebook and I will write to you a little bit
thanks
later.
to you, yes.
Thanks to you. Thanks, and to Sarah also.
Okay, thanks, Christina, sending you lots of love, sweetie. Just love. Let that love come in. Let that love from Divine Mother. Let that love that wants to just hold you and just let that come in.
Sometimes it's very hard.
Yes, I know. I know, sweetheart. Just, we send you our love. Okay, so I'm going to go on to our last question. Denise, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're totally audible. Go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. I just was curious, Pleiadian Council, hello. What can you tell me about what I came here to do in terms of what gifts I bring to children, parents, and teachers? What are the gifts that I can bring to that in this lifetime? What am I heading towards in terms of assisting in that evolution of education or working with children and parents and teachers? Thank you.
Well, as we have said before, this is something for you to discover, and we cannot say anything more than we have already said to you about this subject. So you have to apply these teachings and these messages and allow the natural intuition to emerge through you to show you the unique ways that you are meant to show up and support in these processes. That is all we can say.
Is there anything you could say to inspire me towards what I'm moving towards?
Again, following your passion, not allowing fear-based belief systems to stop you or slow you down or bring you to hesitate, simply acting on what feels most natural for you and allowing that love to express freely through you in all of the ways that it serves most, and allowing each experience to be a learning, an exploration that shows you how you can naturally manifest those gifts. And the universe will give you opportunities to deepen. But behind all of the gifts is that expression of unconditional love. So when you remember this core frequency of love and make that your core theme and expression, all of this learning will happen naturally.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pleiadian Council.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. And yeah, any closing remarks that you'd like to make? Thank you everyone for your questions, and many blessings to everyone. And
Yes.
yeah, over
Our
here.
great love and thanks is with all of you. And finally, we will close with this idea of the crystal of creation, as all of these messages here today, or at least a couple of these messages, have to do with these ideas of crystals. And again, our opening idea that the frequency of love versus the frequency of fear is what determines the timeline that you go on. So imagine now your world is much like a crystal, and that the frequency you put out is what ripples to create the reality around you. When you live in that frequency of love, the energy that ripples out through you then changes the structure of the crystal. When you vibrate with the frequency of fear, the energy ripples out to distort the energy in the crystal. Yet within the crystal of creation, at its core, are all of the potential vibrations, all of the potential outcomes, all of the potential manifestations of both positive and negative polarities. They are all intrinsic and innate within the crystal itself. And so when you seek out a particular timeline with love or with fear, that is your result. And when you fear one outcome and work to prevent it in a fear-based way, then that actually reinforces that vibration in the crystal. When you see another route, another timeline, and you are aware of the negative potentials as well, but instead choose to work towards that positive timeline and believe that that timeline is already manifest, already there, already grounded and inherent for you, then that will become your dominant reality, and the crystal of creation will morph to become that shape. Much like you have experimented with the messages in water, that permission slip in your world. This experiment proves to be true on every level. The core vibration that you put out to the crystal will always create a new shape. And each and every one of you is manifesting love in your own unique way. You are, in a sense, each your own unique, perfect crystal expression already. But again, the crystal of your own life can take its shape in unique ways based upon the vibration that you put out and the feeling of love that you allow to live and move through you. So again, this is our core message. Return to that state of love, and anything that you can do it with love or you can do it with fear. And it is more so important, the energy that you do it with, than anything else. And again, this energy of love can bring you to become telepathic so that you come to know more than you believed yourself to be capable of knowing, beyond the rational mind into the higher mind that simply downloads and installs information into you all of your days. Our love is with you. The Galactic Alliance is always with you, and many of your own guides are always with you. And this connection to our realms can manifest for you in your own unique ways, at different times, in different spaces for each and every one of you. So again, do not compare your own connection, for it is a unique means for you to make contact and allow these energies to come to work, come to life for you, with you, in your own time and space. Our great love with you, and we wish you a very pleasant day.
Thank you so much, Pleiadians.
Hi.
Hey, welcome back.
That was
incredible.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. Thank you for everyone for participating in that.
Yeah, we had quite a nice group, about 20 of us, I think, here, and then a lot of questions from Facebook. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's been great. All right, sweetie. Last time we stayed on a long time chatting. We'll say goodbye pretty soon here.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And it's, always a pleasure to do this. Thank you for hopping on board. If anyone's interested, the channeling course, you can still hop on board. It's launching on Sunday. We already have a big group. So we'll be meeting for more private chats every Sunday. and there will be a different video lesson beyond those chats every week that kind of prepares you to channel in your own way, and beyond channeling, opening and expanding your own intuition and learning tools to help clear your energetic system and structure throughout the journey. And yeah, you can message me for more info. Still opportunity to hop on board, and your donations for the session are super appreciated. Thank you so much. The links are there, and private sessions also available, all the things. I think that's everything. And do you want to look at the lake while Sarah says anything to say?
Let's look at the lake.
It's pretty.
Hi, everybody. Yes, you can donate to dante.filippini@gmail.com on PayPal. And you can donate on Venmo to the @Dante55. So the @ and then Dante55. Wow, that's gorgeous. That's glorious.
I'm very happy to live right next to it now. Calms me down.
Oh, yes. All that water. It's gorgeous. All right. Well, I guess we will say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for your questions.
Thank you.
Many, many
Thank
blessings.
you guys so much.
Does anybody want to come on camera and wave goodbye?
Thank you all. It was awesome.
Thanks, Josh. It was awesome to have you on there. I want to chat with you on Facebook. Let's open up a message link.
Okay.
Bye, Manuela.
Yay.
Bye, Marie. Bye, April. Bye, Laurel.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Denise.
Much love.
Bye, Terry. Go ahead and email me the question. Okay. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
And thanks again for the channeling. It's awesome.